Alright guys, hello and welcome, Scovillain fans, Draft League fans. We'll get to Draft League in a bit here. Oh, someone's in my VC. What's up, Cinerath?
Hey.
Just started stream. I just started it. It's live right now.
Booyah!
Let me go ahead and link that. So Cinerath is the one that actually made this team for me in game. Which, there's a little bit of a funny story about that coming later, but we'll get there. Just need to link this. Bang. And I will link it here as well. Content tag. Bang. Alright. So to start off this stream, I wanted to go a little bit into my Toronto VGC event and how we did. How the team performed, all that sort of things. It was a fun time. Just a little bit of stuff for that. And I wanted to go over this team particularly because we actually made VGC Twitter with this team. A few mentions on Reddit as well. People were like, oh my god, Scovillain went 5-3, one game off of day 2. But yeah, we'll go a little bit into how we managed to do that. What's up, Keegan? What's up, Agency? How we doing today? But yeah, I wanted to drop the full paste and tell you why these EVs, what makes the team kind of work, but also like it's a really hard team to use. So if you want to use it, the link is in the description. But yeah, let's just go into it real quick. So I built this team because I have a disease where the only VGC teams I can use have Scovillain on them. It's terminal at this point. But so I had a Koraidon Scovillain team back in Reg G. I didn't play Reg I. Reg H, I had a Scovillain team for that one as well. That one I think is not too different from this one. But now Reg F, I was like, okay, we have to make Scovillain work here. And I was looking at all the Sun Abusers, right? I was looking at, well, because I want to use Chlorophyll plus Side Spicy, right? Offensive Scovillain, not that good in this format. There's too many dragons, too many things that live the dual stab combos. Was Crest supposed to be grass? Yeah, I gave you the wrong paste when you were making that, so that's my bad. We got it changed, though. Yeah, it's my bad. But, yeah, so I was like, okay, I want to use Scovillain, because that's the whole point. I like this guy. And who am I going to pair it with? So I had this idea of using Eject Pack Torkoal with Overheat to get the sun up and then allow me to position Scovillain plus an Abuser. And I landed on Roaring Moon. Now this is not the final nickname we went with because Pokemon Company is a little bit strict with that sort of thing. But for the latter, obviously these nicknames are pretty funny. So Roaring Moon. Now usually in VGC these guys like to run Terraflying Acrobatics with Booster Energy, but I decided to go a different route and went for Clear Amulet so that I can side Spicy Extract. If you don't know what Spicy Extract does, it does +2 attack and -2 defense on whatever it hits, and the Clear Amulet blocks the defense drop. So it's basically giving my Roaring Moon a free Swords Dance. So you could think of it kind of as like a double Howl in that sense. But okay, what do these EVs do on Roaring Moon? Well, I landed on Terra Fairy after trying a few different ones. I tried Terra Flying, but given that I'm Clear Amulet and not Booster, I was having to run like Terra Blast Flying, which, you know, the main reason you run Acro is because it's so strong. And without the strength, I thought the defensive aspect of Terra Fairy versus like Regidrago versus stuff like the Urshifus, the Ogerpons and stuff, because if you think about it, right, Fairy type in the sun, I'm basically resisting the dual stab of Urshifu Rapid, which is a really big deal. Also, Fairy allows me to kind of set up in front of Raging Bolt's face if it is the Calm Mind, Thunderclap, Dragon Pulse set, which was very popular when I built this team. Not so much right now, but it was really popular at the time. This, I can just Dragon Dance on it forever, and then as long as I have my redirection available, I'm able to like go Incin, Fake Out, Dragon Dance, Parting Shot, Dragon Dance, and then I eventually get my Scovillain in and I can Rage Powder away their Thunderclap and just OHKO it, right? So yeah, the attack for this is so that I always get an attack booster in the sun, because attack boost plus +2 on the Spicy Extract, this guy is so strong. Is your castle available this coming Friday? I'm not sure on that. I'll have to check my work schedule, but I think probably not the whole day, but maybe in the morning or something, I don't know. But yeah, Roaring Moon. So 164 attack is always attack booster and allows me to run this speed creep, which is exactly 180 speed. This is to outspeed Torn Eye max speed. And in the whole tournament, I never really had an opportunity where it's like, oh, I wish I was max Jolly. This was always good enough. And then this HP and defense and SpDef allows me to always live a Specs Terra Fairy Fluttermane. And I also live a Terra Cudgel from, you know, any Ogre Pawn besides Hearthflame, obviously, because that guy in Sun is just OHKOing everything on my team low-key. But one thing that came up a little bit in testing this was Ogre Pawn Cornerstone being quite annoying to break, because it gets that defense boost. And if it doesn't Terra, then you have Sturdy, so it takes 2 hits to beat anyways. And I was like, this calc is really close. I could just make it guaranteed live a Terra Cudgel from full. Also would help versus Wellspring, you know. I always live 2 Terra Cudgels versus Wellspring, which is pretty important. So I went with this spread. I was really happy with it. The attack also, when you get +2 and the attack booster from the Sun, it does OHKO most Amoonguss spreads. And max Amoonguss is still a roll in my favor. So I thought this was a pretty nice Roaring Moon spread. There's one game in the tournament where I like lived on 8 HP. And that was because my opponent had a Roaring Moon that clicked Acro, but because my Sun was up, they didn't use their booster energy, so it was like a half power Acro. And then they tried to Cudgel with their Ogre Pawn, and I lived on 8%. And they were like, wow, like, how are you so bulky? It's a really good spread. The Scovillain, star of the show, is just going to be max special attack and speed timid nature. The Overheat is really strong in the Sun, and given that Roaring Moon doesn't have a spread option, I wanted the strong hit from Overheat. You have obviously Rage Powder and Spicy Extract on a support Scovillain. This is like the bread and butter of the Mon. Spicy Extract into Roaring Moon, and in testing I did use Spicy Extract on my Incineroar in a few endgames. For example, like versus Raging Bolt. You can like really get a big advantage that way, but usually it's going to be on the Roaring Moon. And yeah, Rage Powder obviously great for redirecting Thunderclaps, Sucker Punches, all that sort of thing. I was testing like a bulky Scovillain, which was able to live 2 Urshifu Surging Strikes in the Sun, like 2 rounds of attacks, but that ended up never coming up really, because my Roaring Moon is also like, this EV spread also OHKO's Rapid Strike with Terra Blast with the Photosynthesis boost. So yeah, I wanted the strong Overheat. And let's look at the other mode of the team, right? So obviously I have Torkoal to enable this, and I was like, okay, Torkoal fits well on Trick Room. Now, what works well with Torkoal as a Trick Room setter? I thought Cresselia was a pretty interesting shout, because you can Lunar Blessing to restore the Eruption base power, and I thought that was pretty cool. You also have the Helping Hand, like Terrifier Eruption, which was like obviously very good. And it's also like pretty good anti-Trick Room, right? Because opposing Amoonguss is a little bit annoying sometimes, so that's why you have Terra Grass Lunar Blessing. Cresselia always able to absorb spores, and if the partner gets hit, you can just Lunar Blessing and they'll be fine. Torkoal also underspeeds Amoonguss with this exact IV, which is not exactly the same as the one I have in-game. The one I have in-game is, I think, 3 IVs, but really anything from like 2 to 17 will do here. This HP and SpDef spread is so that I live in Iron Crown Expanding Force with the special attack booster. Modest. So I'll live that, I think, like a vast majority of the time. Or no, I think I EV'd to always live that. And then it was a Life Orb Hatterene that is like a roll in my favor. If I remember correctly, it's one of the two. But I live the Expanding Force, and that's pretty important in the Trick Room mirror, right? And then, okay, so I have Torkoal and Cresselia. Obviously, the pairing for Cresselia is going to be Ursaluna as that second Trick Room abuser. And this guy is basically Thanos next to Cresselia. I'm really, really happy with how this guy performed. This EV spread is like a small optimization on a other well-known Ursaluna spread, where I was like looking at what they EV'd for, and I was like, I can do that, but a little bit better. So I ended up with this spread, which lives a Ogerpon Cudgel, the water pawn, from full after burn. And it also lives a Specs Terra Fairy, or is it Terra Fairy or not Terra Fairy, but a Specs Fluttermane hit after burn. So I got those two calcs, which is the same as the spread that I saw besides that, but this is like slightly bulkier on one side while still hitting the same on the other. So it's like slight optimization, and then this attack is just borrowed from that. Legends Arceus will be gatekeeping the Pete blocks for no reason. Yeah, so true. But yeah, Lunar Blessing plus Ursaluna, Helping Hand plus Ursaluna, really good synergy there. And yeah, I was very happy with this pairing alongside Torkoal, really able to clean up a lot of games. And then, so I had these 5 slots, and I was like, what am I going to put in the 6th slot? Probably just going to be our good pal Incineroar, right? This spread, I actually decided not to go for any defense. Usually, when you go Citrus Berry, you EV for Surging Strikes after the Citrus, because you can. I decided not to do that in favor of being Adamant with 20 attack. This is so I can actually hit quite hard in the sun, which came up quite a lot. I'm able to OHKO a lot of things with Flare Blitz in the sun with this Pokemon, and the attack was really nice. This Spadef is for Iron Crown, super effective Terra Blast with booster. Basically, I was testing and the roll came up, and I was like, okay, I've lived this every single time. I wonder if it's actually a roll. And it was like, I live 80% of the time, so I just made it 100. And then the speed is for other Incins, right? The idea is I want to fake out first, set Trick Room with my Cresselia. Like, I lead Incin Cress a lot with this team, and if I can fake out their fake out, for example, if they have Terra Grass, no Terra Ghost, I can fake out their fake out, set Trick Room, and then the second turn, I can Lunar Blessing to heal whatever the partner did, and I can go for a slower Parting Shot in Trick Room. We played so many freaking crowns. Yeah, in testing, it was a really common team, but in the actual tournament, I only played it one time, which is kind of tough because it's like a really dominant matchup for this team. But anyways, so that's the whole team, why I chose these Pokemon. The Terra types, I mean, Grass with Lunar Blessing, this is essentially because, basically, there's that really annoying Hyper Offense team with, like, Glamora, a Choice Bandit, Urshifu Dark, plus Smeargle and stuff, and I was like, I can't really solve the Smeargle Fake Out plus Banded Wicked Blow. I looked at it, like, nothing is, like, super consistent, so I decided to go for Terra Grass, so I can always be immune to Spore, right? And that really helps solve this quite a lot. Allows me to get Trick Room on that combo, and then obviously my Ursaluna or Torkoal can carry. Yeah, Cress has been super nice. Anything else, I went for Grass Incin because you go Grass when you're not Goggles, just for Amoonguss. Came up a few times. You also resist the Urshifu Rapids and Wellsprings. Became a VGC player, I might have to unsubscribe, it goes against my values. Hey, just for a few events, right? I already explained Fairy on Moon, Fire on Torkoal, I just want the damage right. Okay, there was one game, we'll get to it later, but I used a Terrafire Helping Hand Overheat, and I OHKO'd a Ting Lu, and I thought that was really awesome. But yeah, Terra Ghost on Ursaluna, block fakeouts, Scovillain Terra Ghost, partially because I thought it would be kind of funny to just have a Ghost Pepper, like that's a real thing in the real world, but it's also really nice for redirecting stuff like Dragonite E-Speed from the Choice Band Dragonite plus Xian Pao combo. That was like really annoying in testing, so having that Terra Ghost redirection came up a few times. So I was like, okay, let's go ahead and do that. Kind of Cinerath, but it ended up being pretty good. You often go Ghost anyways on support mons just to block Fake Out and CC and E-Speed. It's a lot of immunities. That's pretty much the whole team, and we can look at, this is like my record. So I started out, this is like reverse chronological order, so this was game 1. Now game 1, I played this team. Is that on screen? Close enough. Let me, bang. So I had to play this team, and it was my first game in a regional in about 8 or 9 years. So I got caught off guard by the Zoroark, which is not common at all. And then I set up Trick Room. Like, game 1, I got smashed. Game 2, I go for the Trick Room mode. And I get Trick Room up, and my Helping Hand Earthquake fails to KO the Sylveon. Now, I saw Fairy Feather and, like, all these attacks, right? I thought it would be just max special attack, modest, max HP, which Turbo dies to Earthquake. But it lived. And he told me after the game it was, like, max defense, bold Sylveon. And I was like, okay, dude. Well, you got me there. So, not a great start. I go to game 2 versus this guy, and basically, in that game, Ogerpon was just Thanos. I couldn't beat it. Every single game was a Swords Dance, and they stalled out my Trick Room really well with Spiky Shield and then pivoting Fake Out users. And I just lost. They played better than me. That was both games that I tried both modes and just didn't work. And then I played this guy who had this terrifying max defense Torkoal, which actually ended up being a massive threat to my team. Specs Fluttermane as well, massive problem. And then the Assault Vest Iron Hands, pretty annoying. So I actually lost my first 3 games, which is tough, right? That's tough. He played well though. It was a really close set. This one was 2-1 to him. The last game was pretty close though. And then we go on a massive winning streak, right? At this point, I'm already eliminated from day 2. The pressure's off. I go to the bathroom, take a massive shit, and then I lock in. Okay, so this is the Indeedee Iron Crown kind of style that I told you, like, this matchup is basically free. And when we played the game, it felt that way as well. I was just able to set Trick Room, and my my Ursaluna just hard carried, right? And whatever Ursaluna couldn't do, Torkoal could finish off, right? I was able to set up like a second round of Trick Room, I think, on this guy, and yeah. Pretty easy set. We go on to, this is round 5. Did you meet Jay Jingles? I don't know who that is, so I'm gonna say no. I played this guy, and this was like a pretty good set. He did Terra Steel his Latios in front of my my Ursaluna, but I called that, attacked the partner, knocked it out, and then he missed a Draco, which honestly I would have been fine with him connecting, because then he Terra Steeled, my Torkoal has no more resist anymore. Because I think at that point he sacked Raging Bolt, and my Torkoal would have just won. But yeah, I dodged a Draco, then I dodged another one, and like, what can you do? Kind of tough. We did, he just doesn't remember. Who is Jay Jingles? Maybe you'll have to, like, in the check-in line with us? Play Mono VGC next DCL? Maybe not, right? Maybe not. But yeah, I was able to beat this guy with the Trick Room mode. It's really hard to run, like, the Roaring Moon set when you have stuff like, you know, the Scarf Rapid Strike doing a lot of damage, and then Taunt Fluttermane is a pretty big one, right? But yeah, I beat him with the Trick Room mode. I think I might have brought the Roaring Moon 1 set and then swapped it to the Trick Room mode. But okay, then we played this guy, and this guy played well. So basically what I did is game 1 went for the Trick Room mode, Cress, Incin. I was able to get Trick Room up safely, and as you can see from his entire team, not really good options into Ursaluna. So it was pretty simple once I got the Trick Room up. Just go Ursaluna and just click Helping Hand Earthquake a lot of times. Like, not really a whole lot that he could do about it. And I was like, okay, what can he possibly do to prevent me from setting up Trick Room? The only real way is with Dragapult, right? Choice banded Terra Ghost Dragapult plus Chien Pao, because Chien Pao can Ice Spinner my Cress to cover my Terra Grass, and Dragapult will Choice banded Terra Blast. And the thing is, Chien Pao can Terra Ghost. I can't fake out either one. So I was like, okay, if that's going to happen, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for my Roaring Moon kind of thing. And that ended up working an absolute treat. I was able to outplay. My Torkoal is able to live 2 hits from these 2 guys. I broke the Sash with Overheat, and I was able to just Spicy Extract, kill the whole lobby. It was really great. But I was really proud of myself for calling that adjustment game 2 and being like 2 steps ahead. That was really good. And then I played this guy, which I think this is the only Arcanine, or no, I played 2 Arcanines the last 2 rounds, but the only Arcanine Flutter Mane combination with the T-Wave plus Rock Slide that can cheese so many matchups. The only time I played that this whole tour, which honestly, I would have preferred to play more of this compared to like the Shifu with Torn. That's always a really tough matchup for our team. But this one, what I was able to do is I lead my Torkoal and my Roaring Moon. The Arcanine led off with, I think, the Flutter Mane, and immediately Intimidate procs my Eject Pack. I get a Scovillain on the field next to my Roaring Moon, full turns, Side Spicy, knock off the Arcanine, dies from full. The Flutter Mane goes for, I think, an Icy Wind, but I'm Clear Amulet. And my Scovillain is always faster than my Roaring Moon, even after an Icy Wind drop. So I'm totally fine. I can Side Spicy, kill everything. And like, there's nothing he could do. Like, literally nothing. So that was kind of tough. I did that twice to him, I believe. And yeah, bang. And then we go to the last matchup of the day. So this was at the 4 and 3 table, determining if you go 5-3 or if you go even. And I played, finally, one of our best matchups, the Snow Core. Now, this matchup is like so insanely favored for the Roaring Moon mode. Like, all you have to do really is make sure you have Torkoal in the back to reset the snow, and you can just kill everything, right? So I led Torkoal and Roaring Moon. They led Ninetales, and I think, was it Ninetales Articuno? I don't remember exactly how this one went, but he led Ninetales plus something. I'm able to always just overheat into that slot. If they swap Ninetales, I also swap, and I have the Sun in the back ready to come in whenever they try to reset the snow. Eventually, they end up Terra-Firing their Ninetales, but at that point, the Roaring Moon was already +4 and had killed 3 Pokemon, so like completely won, smashed, all that sort of thing. And yeah, like this one was really fun. I wish I ran into more of that, because getting the immediate like Intimidate shuffle into free Scovillain, always nice. And then obviously Sun into Snow, always going to be a good time. So I ended the main event 5 and 3, which is more than I could ask for after starting 0-3. I think I had like a 2-hour stretch where I was making aggressive calls and they were all working. So a little bit of divine intervention, if you will. But really happy with how I played at least the second half of this. Definitely some like really horrible misplays in the first few rounds, but I was getting used to it, getting into my groove, and we ended up 5 and 3, which I'm happy with. We ended up getting a little bit of a prize for finishing between like 129 and 256. So I got 9 trading card packs, and then I entered the day 2 event, which was just like a side event, which was best of 1, and then the top cut is best of 3. So it was 7 rounds, and so basically I won the first 3 rounds. Yeah, I won the first 3 rounds, and then I lost 1. Okay, the guy I lost to ended up going undefeated in the Swiss, so like that's totally fine. And then I won the next 3 straight. So I ended the Swiss stage of that going 6 and 1, guaranteeing my spot in the top 8 top cut of the event out of I think it was 130 something people signed up for it. So I was really happy about that. But also during that tournament, I actually matched up against Owen, and I matched up against Who, 2 other Draft League players. So I was really happy to play those guys. I used Scovillain versus Owen. I beat him with that. And then versus Who, I brought the hard Trick Room mode. And that's the game where I O-code his Tinglu with the Overheat Helping Hand Torkoal. So that was super fun. In this side event, I brought Scovillain 3 times in Swiss, and I brought the Trick Room mode 4 times. So really nice split there. I was able to use Scovillain quite a lot. And then in top 8, I ran into a guy who had just a really solid matchup into me, I'm not gonna lie. It was Torn Shifu, and that's always tough, but also the stuff in the back was like really hard as well. So he beat me pretty convincingly. I tried both my modes, he beat them both. But but still getting top 8, I was really happy with that. And for finishing top 8 in that, I got a few prizes. One was more Pokemon cards, which is kind of whatever, but I did pull like a few cool ones. But what I'm more interested in is I got some credits to spend at the shop there with like all the Pokemon merch, and I got enough points to get this guy, Alolan Eggy. Not only that, I also got a Mega Charizard Y. Bang! So that was really cool. I actually got the last one in stock for both of those, so pretty cool. But also going into the top 8, this is like that funny story I was telling Sin was coming. So they were doing hack checks, right? And I'm sure they were a little bit suspicious when they loaded up my box and it was my level 12 starter and my 6 Pokemon I'm using in the tournament and nothing else. Just because they went and did the hack checks. Everyone else got their Switch back before me, and I was just sitting there like, they gonna give me mine back? 10 minutes later, they do, and then obviously nothing wrong with it. Cinerath made my team. He did a great job. Everything's legit. And I got to play in Top Cut, but they must have been so suspicious when they saw that. Living in 2019 yard, yep, absolutely. Like literally I have 7 Pokemon in the save file. But yeah, that's pretty much story time for Toronto about how the team did. Again, if you want to use it yourself, the Pokepaste is in the description. Should be good to go. Alright. And now we can move on to the DWL. Right? It's a little bit of a little break and we'll get the dimensions right.